You know the drill. If you are watching, you're part of the action. Hit that sub button so you don't miss a single beat. Now, let's continue with the show.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ro, back for another Beep interview. Today I'm joined by Basil. Basil, could you say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Basil, and I'm the backline for the top competitive team, Moonlight.
Now, Basil, Moonlight is probably, when it comes to public awareness, public consciousness, it's definitely like top three, possibly top one. What does it feel like being in a situation where a lot of people are kind of looking at you, what you're doing? How does it feel to be in that position?
I view it as kind of like a double-edged sword type thing. Of course, we do have a lot of eyes on us, but that also means that we have more supporters as well. It's always nice that when one of us streams, we always have a big audience of people to cheer us on. And at this point, we've been a team for over 2 years now. I think we've gotten used to the amount of pressure that brings. So I don't really think it affects our gameplay anyway. So now it's more of a nice thing that we have, and we definitely do not take that for granted.
You mentioned Moonlight being around for 2 years. How did Moonlight kind of come about?
So Shadow and I, before Moonlight, we were previously on a team known as Seafoam. And toward the tail end of Seafoam, we had Nolan subbing in for us a little bit. But ultimately, the team ended up disbanding. And over summer, Shadow was kind of the person that got us all together. Shadow, I think, first grabbed Omega, and then I was pulled out of retirement. And then we got Nolan, and we started to play together more consistently over that summer. And we just meshed very well together, and we're still doing strong today.
Moonlight kind of has it's a very like known kind of comp structure to it. It's some comps are like unmistakably Moonlight comps. Did you think your like interesting weapon pool with like Carbon, with Tent, with like 96? Do you think that that kind of like sets you apart? Do you think that that's a benefit? Do you think it kind of throws people off and they don't know how to play against you as much as others?
I do believe so, yes, because we're bound to have one or two weapons that aren't as common in our comps usually, and sometimes there can be a bit of an experience gap in fighting those weapons. And obviously, like rock, paper, scissors matchups with other top teams, some teams can be more challenging, some teams can be easier to deal with. I do think that it sets us apart because we always seem to have a particular player that we're playing around. Like we were playing around Omega's Carbon near the start of the team, and then we moved to Shadow's Tent, and now recently we've been playing around my E-Liter and Charger.
I suppose that's another thing that we've kind of been seeing recently is the kind of rise of e-liter. It's kind of it's shaking pencil stocks. What came kind of behind the decision to focus on leader over pencil?
It was a team decision that we came to after our Riptide performance in September. We didn't feel like Tent was going to be as strong with the way the meta was shifting, and we felt like we needed another comp, something different to play around, something that works for our playstyle in similar ways that Tent does, and to be honest, my weapon was the only one that hasn't been tried yet to be the main focus of a comp. And we were very down to try it, as we all thought E-Leader seemed strong. And I believe Zap got buffed in a patch that was fairly recent, so that gave us more incentive to try it as well.
Was there a bit of an adjustment going from like pen and kind of like a kind of double mid one front to kind of like now you have like cooler on the front and like the pencil isn't as maybe as mobile or it's a different kind of structure to the team. Did that affect you guys at all?
It's affecting us now. We're still trying to get used to our comp and build up that consistency. We had a really good result in, I forget which week it was, but we played the comp, I believe it was like E-Leader, Zap, Wiper slash Mint, and then 96 in a previous NA league, and we ended up getting third. But our most recent NA league performance, we got fifth, and we are trying to figure out some playstyle adjustments and even a few weapon swaps. And we're also VOD reviewing a lot in order to figure out what's going on and build up our consistency. It's definitely quite the playstyle shift, mainly for our front lines to figure out like how to operate with less burst paint on the floor. I'd say that's the main thing.
What are the pros and cons lists of picking E-Leader over picking pen?
So E-Leader has longer range than Pen. It bullies the Pen matchup. It's one of the few weapons that does that, along with kind of Rapid Pro. And also, E-Leader has higher potential to get multi-kills, and that can like prompt your team to take space faster and escalate your advantages quicker. But E-Leader also requires more setup than Pen does. But once you get the E-Leader set up in a good position, it is very oppressive, and the game sometimes just plays itself in a sense.
How do you go about like constructing a comp around a weapon like E-Leader?
Usually you would want to have a cooler weapon, since that is pretty much required in this day and age. I think Zap is the best one, since it has high mobility as well as one of the fastest coolers in the game. I think it's the fastest now. I think Zap can get faster than Pencil these days. So that is pretty much required. And since it's a fast weapon and Ely is a slow weapon, that's good. You don't want more than one slow weapon in a comp when specifically building an E-Leader comp. And specials are the most important thing, I would say. You would want some kind of stability special in a special like Bubble or Booyah Bomb, and you would want some kind of special that paints to be your last special, since, Wavebreaker, Cooler, Bubble slash Booyah Bomb. So ideally you would want Tri-Strike and Bubble, but Booyah Bomb and Bubble, along with Cooler and Wavebreaker, is also very good.
Is there any situation where you think Kraken Leader has any business being picked?
Maybe on some tower stages, but E-Leader being the beacon weapon isn't really ideal because you want to set up the E-Leader as fast as possible. And most of the time I would rather get set up than put beacons down in good spots for my team. So the kit kind of fights with the main weapon a little bit.
Kind of it strikes me that like all of these kind of shifts in how Moonlight are playing the game kind of coincide with the NA League in a way that they kind of have come around at about the same time. Do you think that's impacting your time in the NA League?
It's definitely a bit frustrating for the team as a whole to try and keep our mentals up while we're trying out this new style of comp because we're bound to be inconsistent when we're trying something brand new and we haven't built up that consistency yet. At a time where being consistent is the most important thing when you're playing like an 8 hour gauntlet on one day for like a 3 hour ladder into a double elim top eight bracket. It's tough, but we are learning, and I think by the time the NA League is done, we'll have a really solid game plan, and I think we'll look a whole lot better.
How do you try to keep mental like high in a moment like that? Because the NA League is an absolute marathon of an event. You give up your entire Saturday to play it. What's it like to have to sit there for that long, and what can people do to kind of keep their mental fresh? What's the Moonlight secret for it?
Our main secret is trying to hold ourselves accountable. If we feel like one person or like multiple people are like having a hard time, we try and talk through that after the match is over, usually, and try and resolve that issue like when it happens. Letting things linger like that is not good because the issue just grows and becomes harder to deal with. So I think just trying to remind ourselves that we can do this, that we've grinded for this, that we know how we need to play. We just have to chill sometimes. And sometimes we, like a few of us, will get up and take like a break for a few minutes, just go walk or grab something to eat, anything like that, basically, to get away from the game for like a couple minutes can be really refreshing.
When it comes to like getting into the set itself, do you think the vibe in the Moonlight VC is right? Do you think that is it a very like positive place to be when you're kind of rallying up to the cause?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm never I'm never sad to hop in a Moonlight VC ever. I think we have one of the best team environments there is. Sometimes we can get a little frustrated at the game and like some of our problems that are happening, but at the end of the day, we all want to win. We're all committed to being here every Saturday from 3 p.m. EST to however far we get. Sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 11, but we're all best friends. We all want what's best for each other, and we all know that very well. And that's the main priority for us is having fun and being there for each other.
When it comes to kind of the team dynamic, who's do you have like a someone who's calling the shots mostly? Did you have a kind of relatively shared out who picks the fights, who sets things up? What's the team dynamic when it comes to actually playing the game?
I would say most of the time that would be Shadow and Omega. They tend to make a lot of the team calls, but ideally we want to get to a point where all of us have the capability to make those team calls and say what we need, like say like I need this position, can we play for this? Can we hold this? Like multiple calls like that need to be made by the entire team because everyone sees a different layout of the match. Like one person is not going to see everything. It falls on the responsibility of all of us in order to like make the game feel good and get the best results for all of us.
Is the next big goal that Moonlight has to kind of to go for the NA League to for that to be the kind of the main focus and potentially even try to win it?
Yeah, the goal is to win. The goal was always to win. From very early on, when the team was first forming, that was our main goal, to play in a Nintendo event and win the whole thing. And I believe we can. We still hold that goal. All of us still hold that goal to this very day. And I see it in our VOD reviews. I see it like on tourney days that we all really want this.
I think it's after for viewers I'm just after a Gray interview. So I'm 10 minutes out of that, and that interview ended with I think more people just need to chill out and have fun. So to jump from that perspective straight into the goal is always to win. It's I think it's a really like or like hardcore traditional competitive mindset. It's super cool. Um, Kind of we're talking a lot about the now. We're talking a lot about what's happening currently. When it comes to actually like how your Splatoon journey started, when did you first start getting into the game? What was that like?
I joined Splatoon pretty late with the first game, so I was just a casual. I didn't really do much ranked or anything. I think I only got to A plus, but by the time S2 came around, I was more interested in the game, even though I ended up getting Splatoon 2 a year after it released. And then I joined competitive about 3, 4 months after I got the game because I got X rank and I thought I was really good. So I thought I'd try competitive out. And oh boy. But yeah, I stuck with competitive throughout the entirety of S2's lifespan after joining it, just mainly grinding the Charger class. I played all of them, and I was mainly a free agent towards the tail end of S2 for about a year and a half, 2 years. I was just grinding pickups at that point. I had made up my mind that I was going to wait for S3 since I didn't really like the state of the game S2 was in. I did not want to play Jet Squelcher. I was a one-trick E-leader by the end of S2, so I just wanted to play that, so I didn't get on any teams. And then S3 formed, Seafoam formed pretty early on, and then once that ended, I got on Moonlight.
You mentioned a couple things in there that I think are really interesting. You mentioned like the weapon variety of Splatoon 2 compared to like Splatoon 3. Like in Splatoon 2, you had a jet squelcher if you had a backline. Like there there wasn't really a whole lot of other options. You could maybe see Firefin on occasion. You could maybe see maybe a Splatling here or there, but it was Jet Squelcher. You saw Jet Squelcher.
Yeah, there's so much more variety for the backline class, especially in this game. It's really amazing to see. Like, you can make E-liter work. Bow is also pretty good. There's Pencil, obviously. Sadly, no backline Splatlings anyway, are all that great right now. I'm very much hoping some of them get a buff soon in the next patch or two.
I think, as you said, for the backline like role especially, it's so much more diverse. But I think across the board in Splatoon 3, you can make just about anything work. Like there's gonna be weapons where like okay, like you can try to make Clash Neo work. Like that is a choice you could make. But like for the vast majority of weapons, I genuinely think that if there's someone dedicated out there, they can push you to a relatively high level.
I definitely agree with that. I also think that's another thing that's different in this game compared to S2 In S2, I remember someone making a tier list, and there were two categories. It was can win and can't win. And in can win, there were less than 10 weapons, and all the rest were in can't. Whereas in this game, I feel like that's pretty much swapped. So that's very good for the game's health as a whole.
You also mentioned in there kind of that what feels like a universal experience of hitting X rank and thinking you're one of the best players to ever touch the game.
Yeah, they got me pretty good, honestly. But I mean, I didn't mind. I was hooked and happy to learn. The game was fun. The people in this community are amazing. So I was happy to stick around and grind.
What also kind of struck me when you were speaking there was kind of mentioning that you've been like a Charger player all the way back since like the beginning of S2. Have you always been a Charger player?
No. So for my first team in S2, I was primarily V Charger, but for my second team in S2, I switched to more of a midline support role. I was playing H3, the armor one, and I also like did a bit of K Machine and K Pro as well. But as soon as that team disbanded, I went right back to backline. The Chargers have always been for me.
Does it just feel home? Is it just right?
Yes, that and I when I was starting out with Splatoon in Splatoon 1, I watched Brian on YouTube. I watched one of his E-liter 3K montages and I was very inspired. That is one of the main reasons why I'm here today.
That I think is always something so interesting me to hear like how this player inspired this player, inspired this player, inspired this player, and it's just this like forever intergrowing web that like I don't think people realize how much an effect like just putting themselves out there can have because you will be the first time someone's seen Splatoon.
That is crazy to think about.
You know?
But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I think especially in the age where like anyone can get a $20 capture card off of Amazon and just start posting videos of their gameplay super easily and inexpensively. I think it's kind of within all of our capacity and our kind of our responsibility to the longevity of this community to put ourselves out there and to be the reason someone plays comp.
I absolutely agree. I think content creation and competitive players of all skill levels putting themselves out there and reaching a wider audience so the community can keep growing.
You've kind of recently started uploading more videos to your own YouTube. What's that been like? Do you have big plans for it? What's the dream there?
It has been very fun. I don't know like what exactly my end goal is with YouTube. Right now I'm enjoying posting just X rank or NA League sets or even like going over my thoughts from a match, stuff like that. Videos that don't require much effort, mainly because I have a lot on my plate with university right now. But I will say that when I get monetized, expect an e-liter guide pretty soon.
Ooh. I hope that's a Beep exclusive for us.
That is a Beep exclusive, yes.
We can put like a Moonlight's Basil exclusive interview all caps in the title now.
Yeah.
When it comes to like where you're at, did you ever think when you first started that you'd ever get to where you are right now?
Absolutely not. I thought I would get to +2 and that would be the end of my journey. Never did I imagine that I would end up here competing with some of the best teams the West has to offer. Not that I thought it would take too much time. It's never really a confidence thing with me. I always thought that I was good at the game and that I could climb higher if I wanted to.
Hmm.
I thought that I would just lose interest at some point, and while there have been times that has happened, it was it's always been like the span of a month or two. It's never been a long term or forever thing. I always end up coming back to the game with a fresher perspective and wanting to grind and improve myself.
I think the constantly keeping fresh and constantly having the next step set it set like moving the goalposts once you reach them is always it's kind of the key to that like competitive mindset of like, okay, I won this, now what's next? It's the competitive hunger in a way.
It is a very important thing to keep in mind when you're doing basically anything competitive. This applies to like in-person sports and other games and even things that are like entirely different from that. I think it's always important to try and reach new limits because you don't know what you're capable of. You have an idea, but you don't really realize how far you can go. And oftentimes, you can go much further than you think.
I think for me personally, Splatoon has taught me that like I can be capable of a lot if I just like push myself and if I just try. And I think it's a really powerful tool to show people that if they do try, if they do put in the hours, if they do find people and surround themselves with a strong community and have a set goal, that they can achieve great things.
I absolutely agree with that.
Speaking of achieving great things, you're setting your goals high as a team. You're aiming for number one NA League. Who's your biggest competition? Who's gonna stop you? Who's gonna try and stop that from happening?
At this very moment, it's probably five, otherwise known as Crush Soda, the team with Zenith, Goss, Thunder, Jordan, and I believe Wave is on their main roster, but they've been having Zenith play for them a bit when Wave can't. We haven't been able to take a set off them yet. I believe I believe it's mainly figuring out how their playstyle works because the past times we fought them, they've had Zenith on Rapid, and I believe we just don't have much experience versus that gun, and it tends to deal with some of our weapons well. A lot of our weapons well, actually. Milky Way and FT Win, of course, are very tough, as always, but going back to the idea of this rock, paper, scissors with matchups, I believe Five's weapon comp just proposes more of a challenge than Milky Way or FT Win do.
I think a lot of the time it can be really easy to boil teams down to this team is better than this team is better than this team, and it's like just a complete straight line hierarchy, food chain type of thing. But I think people also like overlook the level to which playstyle and comp and the players on a team and their experience kind of it all factors in together, and it's a dynamic thing, and like one team might have be having an off week, or it's a super dynamic thing that I think people don't appreciate to the full extent that it is.
I don't believe that people appreciate that. You're right. I completely agree with you. I believe that people just want a number. They want cold hard
Mm.
facts when in actuality there are way too many factors to consider, and those factors constantly change because I'm noticing that a lot of the top teams are in the process of changing their weapons around. I know FT Win has had a few comp developments, and Milky Way has also had many comp developments. So that's also going to change the rock paper scissors or the matchups dynamics of top level. And I don't think you can really put a number to like team rankings right now.
You mentioned all the factors. You mentioned everything that's changing. You mentioned new players, new weapon comps, new play styles. Do you think, despite all of that kind of uncertainty, all of that volatility, that Moonlight has what it takes to walk away with the NA League W?
I definitely believe it's possible, but again, we're gonna have to put in the work and see.
Gonna have to put in the work for sure. Okay, Basil, this has been an absolutely amazing chat. Thank you so much for committing the time to it. Do you have anything you'd like to say? Any socials that you'd like to plug to finish out?
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed this interview.
Yippee!
But as to where, yippee, as to where you can find me, it would be Basil 4KS on YouTube, Blue Sky, and Twitter.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Um, and be sure to go follow Basil Herdamuchi. Okay.
Thank you so much.
No problem. This has been absolutely amazing. To everyone at home, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Bye.